Hey foodies, thanks for watching. This is part of a 3-part series that I'm going to come out with. We're starting with crusty rolls. Nice rolls that are easy to make, crusty on the outside, soft and chewy on the inside. I can't wait to show you that. Then following that, we're going to make a risotto. A spinach and sun-dried tomato risotto, something to warm you up and just goes so well with those rolls. And then finally, we're going to be making an upside-down chocolate lava cake. This cake is amazing. So you're going to have to stay tuned for all of these different parts. But we're going to start with the buns. And I'm making the buns 2 different ways. We're going to make them with Frankie's gluten-free bread mix. And it's so easy to make. I'm just going to move my oil and my water aside for a minute, because all we need to do is have a scale, and I'm going to measure out 600 grams of bread mix. Oh, it's not even been opened. I've got to open the bag. And pour in 600 grams. 3, 4. Oh, it smells good already. 5, 70, 90. There we go, 600 on the money. I'm so excited about that. So just tuck that back into that bag. I'll do that another time. And then to that, I want to add my water. And there's 2 cups of water and a 1/4 cup of light salad oil. I'm using just a canola oil, but if you had like a grapeseed oil, that would be fine as well. I find olive oil is just a little bit too harsh, or too heavy for this. And then we just turn it on and we beat it. Oh, it's perfect. So the consistency you're looking for when you're making a gluten-free bread for any gluten-free bread is really, you're looking for something to be like thick cake batter. The reason for that is there's no gluten in it. So the gluten properties need to be replaced with something, and so we're replacing it with lightness or airiness and a little bit more water to allow the yeast to not work as hard, and you're not going to have such a difficult time when it's trying to rise and prove itself. And that looks really nice. So now I'm just going to scoop these. And I've got a portion scoop, but if you want to use your own kind of scoop, you can go for that. Let's do 2 there. Pretty good. And I'm okay if some of these touch. I'm going to add a little bit to each of them. They've got just enough to add. And I'm going to squish them down just a tiny little bit with my hands. And the last one. That's beautiful. Okay, I'm going to set that aside for a moment. And I'm going to set that back in there because I'm going to use that again because we're going to make the gluten-free all-purpose flour blended version of these. So I'm going to wet my hands, and I'm using warm water, and I'm just going to lightly smooth it all out. And I'm just pressing them to about 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch in height. you have to re-wet your hands, go for it. They haven't really stuck to my fingers yet, so I'm happy about that. I'll flip this around. Let's see if I can get the whole thing done with just the, without having to re-wet my fingers. I don't know. Okay, and then I've got a brush here, and I'm just going to lightly brush the edges with a little bit of oil, just to help give them a little bit more of a crusty surface. I'm not going crazy with the oil, because I don't want to impede the, oh, we got something there. We don't want to impede the rising of the bread. Oh, sorry, what was that you asked for? You want some toasted sesame seeds on it? No problem. I can put some toasted sesame seeds. I've got them right here. And yeah, we're going to sprinkle some toasted sesame seeds on. Oh, that's going to be amazing. There we go. So I'm going to set this over here and let it rise for a few minutes. While it's rising, we're going to do the next set of buns. So I'm going to take my mixing bowl, and I'm not too worried about cleaning it out. It's all the same stuff, essentially. I'm just going to give it a light scrape. Let's get the last of that little bit of dough. I can throw that in later. So I've got my psyllium, and I'm going to put some psyllium. And if you're looking to where you can buy psyllium at like a bulk food store. That's where I get mine, and it's great. And then you want to pour your water over top. And we're just going to let that sit there for a minute. Just let it come together, do its thing, gel up, work its magic. And it doesn't take very long. It takes maybe 60 seconds, 90 seconds. And then you've got a gelled up, and it's already starting to gel. It's still very movable right now because there's 2 cups of water. That's a lot of water for the 2 tablespoons of psyllium I put in there. But it is gelling up quite nicely. So to that, I'm going to add 600 grams of Frankie's gluten-free all-purpose flour blend, and that is the gluten-free flour blend that I really like. I really love Frankie's gluten-free all-purpose flour blend. It doesn't leave an aftertaste or a weird flavor. It just works, and it's good. And to that, I'm going to add a little bit of sugar. And some of you might be like, ooh, don't add sugar. Well, we're going to be putting yeast in this, and the yeast needs food. And the sugar is the food for the yeast. So that's what goes in. And then I've got a bit of baking powder. And that just helps with a little bit of rise. And a little tiny bit of vinegar. And I'm not going to pour it on the baking powder because I want it to not cause a huge chemical reaction right away. I just want to have this all just do its thing once it's mixed up. So I'm going to put this back in my mixer. And I'm going to turn this on and mix it up. So I'm mixing it up, and I'm like, it's a lot thicker than it should be. I forgot to add the oil. So I'm going to add the oil, and we're going to mix it ever so slowly because I don't want the oil to go all through my kitchen. So we're just going to start slow. and the dough is gonna just blend in with the oil, and it's gonna loosen up, and it's gonna become the texture and consistency that it's supposed to be. So you can see that since we added the psyllium, it's a lot denser and it's a lot heavier, and the psyllium will give the dough a lot more stretch when we're baking it. And because we're adding the psyllium to the all-purpose flour blend, we can make smaller breads like baguettes and buns and things like that. And we don't have to worry so much about density of the bread, because it's not going to become these you're not going to get these huge holes in your loaves, because you've just got baguettes and buns, which are a lot smaller. And this looks beautiful. I could probably handle it with my hands, because it looks like it's almost there. You can see just a little bit of stickiness, and that's the stickiness I like to see when I'm working with psyllium. Okay, so I'm going to grab another pan. I'm going to grab my scoop again. I'm making these slightly larger than the last time because we had to add to the dough anyway. Some of them are a lot larger. Oh, that's nice looking. Just scrape that. And that. Okay, so again, I'm going to wet my hands with some warm water. And these ones you could actually probably pick up. Look at that, that's a lot better. But I'm definitely going to have to wet my hands probably a couple times. Yeah, I'm going to get wet hands again. And the extra water, I'm not worried about. Just going to make everything rise and be that much better. And then I'm going to press them down to about 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch in height. I'm trying not to leave fingerprints or finger marks. There we go. Oh, that one's needing. There we go. And we did sesame on that one. I think we should do poppy seed on this one. And I just happen to have some poppy seeds here. We're going to sprinkle some poppy seeds. And as I was doing that, I realized I forgot to do the oil, but the oil is okay because we're just going to be brushing. And you can see the poppy seeds are still staying right where they're supposed to. So I'm going to let these rise for about 20 to 25 minutes until they're just a little bit lighter. And then I'm going to pop them into my preheated oven of 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 175 degrees Celsius for about 25 minutes. And then we're going to see what they look like. So those need to rise in a warm spot. I don't know how warm that is. These buns look amazing. They came out of my oven. They took about 20 to 25 minutes. The internal temperature reading, which is really your tell for knowing exactly how long it takes for your bread to bake, is an internal temperature reading of 99 degrees Celsius. So go by that and you're gonna know that your buns are perfect every single time. And let's look at these. So these were made with the Frankie's bread mix and they look unbelievable. Like, I mean, look at how much they rose and they puffed up. They overproofed a little tiny bit, but they look so fluffy and so good. I can't wait to dig into them. And then we've got the Frankie's all-purpose flour and with psyllium, and they look like a hamburger bun, in my opinion. I mean, they're great. They're a little on the dense side. I mean, but gluten-free bread is dense in general. So it's not just this product or even Bob's Red Mill. It's just gluten-free flour is gonna make a denser bread. But let's cut into these and see what they're like. So let's choose that one. I'm gonna move that out of the way. And let's go with that one. And I'll move that out of the way. And I've got a little bit of butter here because you gotta have bread with butter. And it's sliced in half. It sounds really good when I slice into it. I've not looked at either of these yet. So let's look at the bottom. The bottom is nicely browned. Got a nice crust on there. Oh, look at the inside of that. It smells magnificent. Smells really good. Okay, so that's that one. And let's look at the bottom of this one. Similar, same as this bottom. Here we'll look. Yeah, almost the exact same. And that's why I wanted to bake them at the same time, just to get even consistency. And yeah, same nice hollow sound. Open it up. It's a denser crumb than this one. You can see this one has a lot bigger holes in it. It's a denser crumb. That's probably from the psyllium. But we could have offset that by adding a bit more water to the recipe, and that would have been fine. I like a bit of a denser crumbed bread. I find it's more filling and satisfying. But let's give this a try. So I'm gonna just a bit of butter, not a lot. There we go. I'll do this one, and we'll go there. Okay. I'm gonna go with this one because it's in my hand. So this is the all-purpose flour blended one. Mmm. Mmm. It's chewy, which is what the psyllium is going to give it. I could definitely see like mayonnaise in a tomato, like a tomato sandwich. Oh my goodness, this would be so good as a tomato sandwich. Okay, I want to try the bread mix. Mmm. 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 I mean, my first thought is it's far superior to the all-purpose flour blend. But the reason behind that is it's a bread mix. Of course it is. It's going to be fine-tuned and calibrated and perfected for being made specifically for bread. Whereas the all-purpose flour blend, it's good all over, but you're not going to get as perfect a loaf of bread. It's no different than with a wheat-based flour. So they're both really good. If you're looking for the recipe, you can visit glutenfreeguy.ca. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Thanks for watching. Hey foodies, thanks for watching. I want to show you how to make crusty buns. Oh, not crusty buns. Hey foodies, thanks for watching. I'm going to show you part of a 3-part series